Literature, Part 2. The Homilies of Blessed Almalexia. Sothersil and the Scribs. Young Sothersil, while playing in the egg mines, saw a number of scribs in a deep shaft, and he began to cast stones upon them, snickering as they skittered and scattered, until one of the scribs, lifting its head up in agony, cried out to Sothersil, "Please, please have mercy, little boy, for what is sport to you is suffering and death to us." And so, Sothersil discovered that the idle amusements of one may be sullen tortures of another. Lord Vivek and the Contentious Beasts. A Shalk and a Kaguti were strutting back and forth in a fueda, casting aspersions on one another's looks. "You are the ugliest creature alive," the Shalk told the Kaguti. "No, you are the ugliest creature alive," the Kaguti told the Shalk, for each thought himself most handsome, and the other most ugly. Then Lord Vivek chanced by and settled their dispute. "No, both are the ugliest creatures alive, and I will not have my pleasant sojourn spoiled by your unseemly squabbling." So he dealt them both mighty blows, shattering their skulls and silencing their argument, and went merrily on his way. And thus Lord Vivek proved that ugliness is as much in one's manner as one's appearance. The Boiled Kaguti. It is said that if a Kaguti steps into a boiling pool, he will leap out immediately to avoid harm. But if the Kaguti is standing in a pool, and a wizard slowly raises the temperature, measure by measure to boiling, the Kaguti will calmly stand in place until he is boiled. Thus, we see that we must be alert, not only to the obvious danger, but also to the subtle degrees by which change may result in danger. The Dubious Healer. Once upon a time, a Telvanni issued forth from his tower and proclaimed to all the world that he was a mighty and learned healer, master of all alchemy and potions, and able to cure all diseases. Lord Vivek looked upon this wizard and listened to his boasting, then asked him, "How can you pretend to prescribe for others to cure to all diseases when you are unable to cure yourself of your own manifest ignorance?" The Dubious Healer. Once upon a time, a Telvanni issued forth from his tower and proclaimed to all the world that he was a mighty and learned healer, master of all alchemy and potions, and able to cure all diseases. Lord Vivek looked upon this wizard and listened to his boasting, then asked him, "How can you pretend to prescribe for others the cure to all diseases, when you are unable to cure yourself of your own manifest arrogance and foolishness?" The Gua and the Mudcrabs. The Gua was so tormented by the other creatures, they did not know where to go. As soon as they saw a single beast approach them, off they dashed in terror. One day, they saw a pack of mixed hounds ranging about, and in desperate panic, all the Gua scuttled off towards the sea, determined to drown themselves rather than live in such a state of continual fear. But just as they got near the shoreline, a colony of mudcrabs frightened them in their turn by approach of the Gua, scuttled off, and threw themselves into the water. "Truly," said one of the Gua, "things are not so bad as they seem. Well, there is always someone worse off than you." The Wounded Netch. A wounded Netch lay by himself down in a quiet corner of his feeding ground. His healthy companions came in great numbers to inquire after his health, yet each one helped himself to the share of the fodder which had been placed there for his use, so that the poor Netch died, not from his wounds, but from the greed and carelessness of his erstwhile friends. And so it is clear that thoughtless companions may bring more harm than help. The Legendary Scourge. Not till the very evening they came, answered he, and then told of his dealings with Mehrunes Dagon's thralls, saying that Makan would find it easier to whistle on the wind's tracks, and to go on a fool's errand than to fight his toads. Then said Makan, "Now, see to thy safety henceforward, and stick to thy parts and thy pride, or this mallet of mine, Malakath's scourge, will meet with thine ear of a surety, for quick as I can cry equality, though 8 arms thou could boast of, such bumps shalt thou comb on thy brain pan, thou'st that breakest the howls of the dead." Explication. The mace scourge, blessed of Malakath, Makan's legendary weapon, forged from sacred ebony in the fountains of Figildire, has ever been the bane of the Darkkin, and many a black spirit has been hurled back into oblivion with a single blow of this bold defender of the friendless. The Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1, a fragment. Act 4, Scene 3, continued. Lifts her tail. "Certainly not, kind sir. I am here but to clean your chambers." Crantius Colto. "Is that all you come here for, little one? My chambers?" Lifts her tail. "I have no idea what it is you imply, master. I am but a poor Argonian maid." "So you are, my dumpling, and such a good one at that, such strong legs, and a shapely tail." "You embarrass me, sir." "Fear not, you're safe here with me." "I must finish my cleaning, sir. The mistress will have my head if I do not." "Hey, cleaning, I have something for you. Here, polish my spear." "But it is huge. It could take me all night." "Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time." End of Act 4, Scene 3. The Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 2, a fragment. Act 7, Scene 2, continued. Lifts her tail. "My goodness, that's quite a loaf. But how shall I ever fit it in my oven?" Grandius Colto. "This loaf isn't ready for baking yet, my sweet. It has to rise." "If only we could hurry that along. How would I accomplish such a task?" "Oh, my foolish little Argonian maid, you must use your hands." "You wish me to knead the loaf?" "Here." "Of course." "But what if the mistress catches me? Your loaf was meant to satisfy her." "Don't fret, my delicate flower. I'll satisfy the mistress's cravings later." "Very well, but I'm afraid my oven isn't hot enough. It could take hours." "Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time." End of Act 7, Scene 2. The Red Book of Riddles. This handy book doth contain all manner of diverse riddles and follies, and by means of careful study, the prudent scholarly gentleman may find himself no longer discomfited by the sharp wit of his fellows. The posing and puzzling of riddles is a convention of polite, aristocratic Western society. Nobles and social aspirants collect books of riddles and study them, hoping to thereby increase their chances of appearing sly and witty in conversation. The question. It has a tail, a side, and a head. I call it what I call a snake. It has no body, and it is dead. The answer. It must be a drake. The question. Poets know the hearts of men and mer, but beasts can't know my heart, you see. The book was written by a bear. The answer. It is not a book of poetry. The question. I gave you a sock, not unlike a box, with hammers and nails all around it. 2 lids open when it knocks. The answer. It must have been a great hit. Wabberjack. Little boys shouldn't go summoning up the forces of eternal darkness unless they have an adult supervising. I know, but on that sunny night, the 5th of First Seed, I didn't want an adult. I wanted Hermaeus Mora, the Daedra of knowledge, learning, gums and varnishes. You see, I was told by a beautiful large-breasted man who lived under the library in my hometown that the 5th of First Seed was Hermaeus Mora's night, and if I wanted the Ogma Infinum, the Book of Knowledge, I had to summon him. When you're the new King of Solitude, every bit of knowledge helps. Normally you'd need a witch's coven or a mage's guild, or at least a matching pillowcase and sheets to invoke the Prince of Oblivion. The man under the library showed me how to do it myself. He told me to wait until the storm was at its height before shaving the cat. I've forgotten the rest of the ceremony, but it doesn't matter. Someone appeared who I thought was Hermaeus Mora. The only thing that made me somewhat suspicious was Hermaeus Mora, from what I read, was a big blobby, multi-eyed clawed monstrosity, and this guy looked like a waistcoated banker. Also, he kept calling himself the Sheogorath, not Hermaeus Mora. Still, I was so happy to have successfully summoned Hermaeus Mora that these inconsistencies did not bother me. He had me do some things that didn't make any sense to me, beyond the mortal scope, breadth and ken, I suppose, and then his servant happily gave me something he called the Wabberjack. Wabberjack? Wabberjack. 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 Maybe the Wabberjack is the Book of Knowledge? Maybe I'm smarter because I know that cats can be bats, can be rats, can be bats, can be gnats, can be that's, can be thises, and that the doors can be the bores, can be the snores, can be the floors, can be the roars, can be the spores, can be the yours, can be the mine. I must be smart, for the interconnective system is very clear to me. Then why or wherefore do people keep calling me mad? Wabberjack, Wabberjack, Wabberjack. I hope you've been enjoying these lore readings, and if you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.